Now I'll call on Senator Gerry Horkan on behalf of the Fianna Fáil Group.
Thanks, Caoirleach, and indeed I would like to welcome, in the spirit of confidence and supply, I'd like to welcome Councillor Maria Doyle and her group as well. And it's good to see people being so young and so involved in politics. Well, she was leaving. She was leaving once she'd heard me mention her name again. Absolutely. And a couple of points. Now we have some serious business to do as well. So thank you, Leader, for outlining the order of business. And a couple of points I want to raise this morning. A report in the Irish Independent today, housing crisis. More than half of renters say housing situation impacting on their mental and physical health. 84% of all renters are feeling insecure about their housing situation, particularly those aged between 18 and 50. Women, 68% lack security, and just 16% of people between 25 and 35 say they feel secure where they live. Now, I know we were dealing with residential property and tenancies yesterday, and some of those things will help tenants, but it is a huge thing. We're doing our best on mental health in lots of ways, but on other areas, the lack of progress, and I know Rebuilding Ireland, and I don't doubt, Leader, that you'll have lots of good figures to mention in your response, but the lack of supply of housing and the lack of security of tenure and the lack of ability to buy a house for many, many people is causing huge damage. And if we could sort those things, we might not have to invest half as much in mental and physical health measures if we had a more sustainable housing programme for these people. Second point, I was at the Oireachtas Committee on Communications this morning, and I welcome the fact that the committee has agreed to establish an inquiry, an investigation into examining how rural broadband can best be delivered, a timely, efficient report. My party, and particularly from my own perspective, I am absolutely determined and I want everyone in this country to get broadband, but we need to make sure we get value for money for it, and we need to make sure that if we're contributing a lot of money, that the state isn't just handing it all over to an investor who seems to be investing an awful lot less than the state is, and they will have ownership and the ability to transfer it across. I think also, Leader, at some point soon we need to have a debate on rehab and Section 38 and Section 39 facilities. They were hit by FEMPI when it happened. They're not getting the benefit of the restoration or the removal of FEMPI, and I think it is an important thing, and it's causing many of those organisations to lose staff to other organisations that have had FEMPI improved in the meantime. And I think, finally, Leader, I'd just like to make the point. I was out canvassing yesterday and I met a lady who had come back from the missions in Lesotho to Ireland. And she's back a number of years, 2 years I think at this stage. But she wrote to the Minister for Transport because when she went to Lesotho, she exchanged her Irish driving licence for one for Lesotho when she was there. And now she isn't being let come back and exchange it back. She wrote to the Minister for Transport. She then wrote to the Taoiseach. He at least responded to her and said, I've passed it on to the Minister for Transport, and she still heard nothing. We need to make sure, and I know Senator Lawless and others have been here, about when we have people coming back for whatever reason to this country, Leader, that we do deal with their situation, and we do allow. This lady had an Irish driving licence. I'm sure somewhere in the system her date of birth, her name and so on are all there with her qualifications, and she's unable to drive since she came back to Ireland because she doesn't have a driving licence, and she has not been able to exchange it back for the one from Lesotho. And I think it's important. They drive on the same side of the road, they have the same rules of the road and so on, and she hasn't. And finally, I think it is timely that I welcome the visit of President Trump, one of our most important countries that we have enormous connections with. I think I mentioned here before, my grandfather was the youngest of 10, 8 of them went to America, 8 of his brothers and sisters went to America, and one died young. Almost everyone in this chamber, I'd say, has family and connections in America. They're a very important trading partner, they're a very important cultural friend, and regardless of who the President is, the fact that the President of the United States is coming to Ireland is something that we should welcome. We welcome people from all kinds of other countries with human rights records that wouldn't be as good as America, and I think it's important that we would welcome him. And I thank you, Caoirleach, for indulging me a little bit over time. Thank you very much.